Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by The Guild. I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. We'll start things off today with some Cowboys news, and of course, the big one is Zack Martin's rather large contract extension, a 6-year, $84 million deal, $40 million of which is guaranteed, and Zack Martin is now the highest paid offensive guard in the NFL, and actually is one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the NFL as well. He ranks behind guys like Nate Solder and Trent Williams. So among guards, here's the new deal for Zack Martin. This includes the current year, so it's actually a 7-year deal for Zack Martin with a 6-year extension, just above Andrew Norwell at $13.34 million. In terms of guaranteed money, Martin blew everyone else out of the water, and it's worth mentioning for Zack Martin, it is a longer deal, so you tend to get more guaranteed money in that scenario. Among highest paid offensive linemen, Martin is now number 3. Nate Solder, Trent Williams, the only 2 guys ahead of him, all of which, by the way, play in the NFC East. So go figure on that one. So I want to know from you guys, is Zack Martin worth the $14 million per year? It's a lot of money, and it's not quite the deal you got with Travis Frederick, and it's certainly not the deal you got with Tyron Smith, who is, frankly, wildly underpaid by the Dallas Cowboys. But I do think it's worth it. You have to pay elite talent when you have it. So, yes, you're paying a premium for Zack Martin, but you got the best guard in the NFL. That's worth about $14 million. So it's a lot, but it's worth it in the end. All right, next up, folks, on today's Cowboys Report, brought to you by The Guild. Don't forget to visit stayguild.com for 15% off your next stay when you use promo code CHATSPORTS. Think of The Guild as like a luxury Airbnb. The Cowboys worked out 5 players this week, and one of them is Paul Dawson, the former Bengals and Seahawks linebacker. This is an intriguing workout. It's the name that jumped out to me when I looked through those 5 players. He played for the Seahawks and Chris Richard last year, has had character and attitude issues in the past. That's why he hasn't become the player the talent says he can be. But much like Dewey McDonald, this is a former Chris Richard player. Jeff Knox, a linebacker, played in the CFL. McDonald spent some time with Seattle as kind of a special teams safety linebacker hybrid. Denzel Johnson spent time with the Tennessee Titans. And Jimmy Bean, it's actually the second time that the Cowboys have worked him out, a former Oakland Raiders defensive end. No one has been signed yet, but it is worth monitoring. And by the way, the Cowboys will continue to work out players between now and Week 17. They do it almost every week. One final news item for you guys, the Cowboys cheerleader lawsuit. Cowboys are the next team to have to deal with a cheerleader lawsuit. This just shouldn't happen. Just pay the cheerleaders. The lawsuit alleges that the cheerleaders were making about $16K a year, a fraction of what the mascot is making for the Dallas Cowboys. So Erica Wilkins is suing the Dallas Cowboys, saying the Cowboys did not pay her minimum wage. The mascot makes $65K for the Cowboys, which, by the way, sign me up for this job. This would be a great job. Cowboys mascot, $65K a year to get to go to all the games and do other events. Sign me up for that one. But again, with this one, folks, just pay the cheerleaders. This should not be that big of a discussion. Shouldn't bring lawsuits. Pay them at least the minimum wage. Why are you trying to go cheap on the cheerleaders, especially when you're the Cowboys? You got plenty of money. Those are the news items. Let's take it now to some Cowboys rumors. And our first rumor item of the day, could Tank Lawrence get a $14 million a year deal from the Cowboys? I'm only going to give it the 1 star on this one. It really doesn't make actually any sense for me, because if you're Tank Lawrence, why would you agree to a $14 million deal? Yes, that's what Zack Martin got, but we know that edge rushers are always paid more than offensive guards when they're both among the top of their positions. And while the Zack Martin deal does free up more cap space, it's actually about an extra $3 million for this year, that doesn't mean Tank is going to take the exact same deal. Why would Tank take $14 million when A, he's locked into 17, and guys like Von Miller got 19? Now, Tank doesn't really want 19, but he does want to match Von Miller's deal, the same deal his agent got for Vernon. Vernon and Tank share the same agent. Why would you not pay those players that amount? And if you're signing a deal for $14 million a year, if you're DeMarcus Lawrence, you're not even a top 10 paid edge rusher in the NFL. Melvin Ingram, Calais Campbell, all these guys make more. Maybe if you fully guarantee the deal, maybe Tank considers it. But this is 1 star at most. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense for the Cowboys to only pay DeMarcus Lawrence $14 million a year, because Tank's going to say no to that contract. So let me know in the comments section, folks, how much you think DeMarcus Lawrence should make for the Cowboys. The starting price, for at least for Tank's side, starts at $17 million a year. On to Randy Gregory. So I think some good news coming up here on this one. Randy Gregory, what's the latest on his reinstatement? When will he be reinstated? I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think it is more likely than not that Randy Gregory is reinstated by the NFL. Here's your big key update. Gregory met with Commissioner Roger Goodell on Tuesday in New York. And Gregory, by the way, has documents proving he has been clean for months. Now, that says to me that Gregory should be reinstated by the NFL, but we know what the NFL likes to do to the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. So, not going to give it 4 stars yet, but it does seem promising for Randy Gregory that'll be back on the field with the Cowboys this year. And if Gregory is on the field with the Dallas Cowboys, what could that potentially look like? So, again, some more updates here on Randy Gregory. The hype is quickly generating around Randy Gregory here. Should there be low expectations or not? That's our next rumor. I'm going to give it 2 heads. I think there should be low expectations, but I don't think they're actually going to be. So the Cowboys have low expectations. Rod Marinelli said that it's different when you've been away from the field for so long. It's been over a year. Marinelli just hopeful and happy to get a chance to work with him potentially again. But the hype is building around one Randy Gregory. Bobby Belt, friend of the show, says Gregory will have at least 5 sacks, which is a lot for a guy that has 1 career sack in the NFL. So, folks, we're going to play over or under. Over under 5 sacks for Randy this year with the Dallas Cowboys. I think 5 sounds optimistic. He hasn't played hardly at all in the past 2 years. To say that the 5 sacks is the minimum is a lot, and I love the optimism. I hope it comes true, but I would lean more towards the under than the over, especially since he hasn't even been officially reinstated yet by the NFL. So I am all aboard Gregory making an impact. We got to pump the brakes here just a little bit. Haven't talked much about Jaylon Smith this offseason. We have some good updates for him coming up here in just a second, but first, a word from our sponsor, The Guild. So is Jaylon Smith looking great in OTAs and minicamp? Yeah, I'm going to give this one the 4 stars, and this comes from Rod Marinelli, who says that Jaylon looks different this year. We'll get to some video here as well of Jaylon Smith, who, by the way, looks absolutely ripped this year. I talk about best shape of life season. This is best shape of life for Jaylon Smith right there. Just some notes on what Rod Marinelli has said. Last year, Rod said that Jaylon Smith was fast in a straight line, but now the movement is in all direction, and it looks different. This is really good news for Jaylon Smith. Rod Marinelli, by the way, threw a comparison up for Notre Dame Jaylon Smith. So I love to see this. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Jaylon Smith, but he was much better down the stretch last year. Looks really good in OTAs and minicamp so far this year. Has been getting consistent first-team reps. A promising sign for Smith, who could become the guy the Cowboys hoped they were going to get when they took him in round 2 after that devastating knee injury. On now to Jordan Lewis. Is he a backup for the Cowboys? Depends on what viewpoint you take. If you take what he should be, then no. If what he is right now in minicamp and in the summer, then yeah. So I'm going to give it 2 stars. As of right now, Jordan Lewis continues to work with the second-team defensive back unit behind Chidobe Awuzie, behind Byron Jones, and behind Anthony Brown. He gets work on the outside and the inside, and I actually hate this idea. Like, I don't mind Anthony Brown. I love Byron and Cheeto. Jordan Lewis needs to be your starting nickel corner. This should not be much of a discussion. He's without a doubt one of your 3 best cornerbacks. Get him on the field. Let him make plays. If he plays the slot, I think Jordan will be the best nickel corner in the NFL in a couple of years, and it won't be very long. But speaking of the cornerbacks overall, folks, who is the best cornerback on the Dallas Cowboys? Give me a heart for Byron Jones, a like for Cheeto, a wow face for Jordan Lewis, and a laughy face for Jordan Lewis, and a wow face for Anthony Brown. I'm hoping it's going to be Byron Jones. I have high expectations this year for Byron. On now to Rico gathers. Is he getting some work at H-back? I'll give this one 3 stars. Now, the way the Cowboys have used the H-back, it's almost kind of more of a fullback tight end hybrid. Think of a Chris Cooley, but for other teams in the NFL, the H-back is often more of a move tight end. So it's a little bit of a hybrid type position. Rico says the Cowboys give him work at that F position. It's the H-back for the Cowboys, and he's excited about it. On the flip side, Rico continues to work as a 4th tight end on the roster. So some good news there from Rico. I think he likes the challenge of working at some new positions. And the Cowboys did use Jason Witten as a kind of a fullback tight end hybrid. I still think, though, Rico's best chance or best spot is more of a wide receiver tight end hybrid. Think of a move tight end, a Jimmy Graham type guy. But again, as of right now, Rico remains 4th on the depth chart at tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Some more not-so-great news for Dallas is the passing game having issues early in minicamp. And this one, I'm going to give it 3 stars. It's accurate, but I'm not going to freak out about it quite yet. And Dak Prescott and Scott Linehan have said very similar things. The Cowboys' passing attack, it is not where it needs to be right now. They've had inaccurate passes from Dak Prescott. Some wrong routes have been run. Some drops as well during OTAs and minicamp, which on one hand, you get concerned about. On the other hand, though, that's kind of expected, right? You're bringing in a whole bunch of new players, receiver, tight end. There's going to be a learning curve there in terms of chemistry. It'll take some time. I'm not panicking yet. It's just June. No reason to hit that panic button, but it is worth monitoring. Good news, Dak says they are getting better. All right, next up is Tavon Austin, a steal for the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give it 2 stars, and I'm very curious to see what the Dallas Cowboys do with Tavon Austin in the preseason. Now, I think he's going to be a Lance Dunbar receiver-type halfback hybrid, just more or less an athlete. As Scott Linehan was asked about Tavon Austin, and he answered, like, the question was what role he was going to play, and Linehan said he's Tavon Austin, which didn't really answer the question. So the upside is there for Tavon, but the upside has also been there for years now with Austin. He was really a halfback first for the Cowboys, or for the Rams last year. Cowboys only got a 6th-round pick, so I like that. I just don't know how big of an impact and what type of role Austin will have week in and week out. He'll get his touches, but I don't think he's going to be the team's number 2 offensive guy like some are suggesting. But, folks, let me know how many TDs Austin will have this year. I think 5 is the over-under again. I'll take the under. I think it's going to be more like 3 or 4, unless he really wows on special teams. All right, folks, another rumor here for you guys. Are the Cowboy receivers only just now being taught to run routes? I'll give this one 3 stars. Comes to us from Cole Beasley in a comment that is viewed as praise for Sean J. Law, but also kind of shade for one Derek Dooley. Cole said it feels like it's the first time we're actually being taught how to run routes instead of just naturally doing it. That's not what you want to hear said. Now, I get that it's praise for Sanjay Law, but I think this is more evidence of my theory that Derek Dooley was a manager, not a teacher. He managed Dez Bryant and his kind of, personality. Sanjay Law is more of a teacher. Still, that's not a good thing and not a very positive comment to be cast towards Derek Dooley. Hopefully the Cowboys wide receivers fare better under Sanjay Law than Dooley in 2018. All right, folks, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. One of my favorite segments we do on the Cowboys Report is the mailbag. I love your guys' questions. They're always great. But as we've done more and more mailbags, I realize that there are more factions out there within the Cowboys fan base that have unusual ideas around the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to take a look at some of my favorite and more unusual ones. And we start with one that I learned about just this week. Xavier Woods over Earl Thomas. So we got a bunch of different comments from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. We've redacted the names to protect the innocent here. All various comments that have come up about Xavier Woods. Not what I had expected, but you guys are number one because I like it when you guys have valid arguments that allow me to kind of take a different view of things. Now, I would still take Earl Thomas over Xavier Woods. I think y'all are a little bit insane for saying otherwise. But I appreciate the comments there. And again, I like Xavier Woods, and I'll mention this right now. Sunday's Cowboys Report will have an in-depth look at one Xavier Woods with highlights and film and more. But back to the Earl Thomas Xavier Woods discussion. If you guys don't want to give up Woods, let me know what you would trade for Thomas or give up in a trade for Earl Thomas. I'd still do Xavier Woods in a third-round pick. But I don't think I'm in the majority like I thought I was going to be. All right, next fan base here. It's the Bring Dez Back faction. This one more so on Facebook, I think, than YouTube or Twitter, but that's okay. A lot of different Dez Bryant comments. Some saying bring him back. He needs that second chance. And on paper, I agree. This one, by the way, I don't know what to do with it. I honestly don't know what to say about a Dez Bryant and a Terrell Owens 4-year contract. At least Zack Martin got more than a 4-year contract. Again, there's some of you guys out there. I just love you guys so much. But again, folks, let me know if you think the Cowboys should bring Dez Bryant back. And I'll make my overarching point here. It's not going to happen. The bridge has been burnt. It's been nuked from space. There's just no chance that Dez and the Cowboys will have any type of reunion. Next up is one of the ones I like as well. Sign in any insert free agent. When someone gets cut, the Cowboys should go sign him. This is more accurate in actual free agency when the Cowboys should sign every single player out there. Sign Sammy Watkins and Dez and Antonio Gates and everyone all at once there. Once another player gets cut, I'm sure we'll get more comments. It peaked again when Michael Kendricks got cut. Some think they should sign Adrian Peterson. Whole lot of different stuff. This one was great. Sign Sean Payton because Sean Payton is a free agent coach. And we'll get to more coaches here stuff in just a little bit. But on the flip side of the whole Dez Bryant bring him back, there's also the, oh, we don't need Dez or Jason Witten. And on paper, look, guys, I really disagree with you because, yeah, Dez is inconsistent, and, yeah, Witten was slow, but they were still the Cowboys' 2 best weapons last year. Maybe they're better overall this year because the offensive line and ground game is better with a healthy front and Zeke back, but on paper, I think it's definitely worse. So I get why some of you guys like Dez. I think the fourth faction of don't need Dez and Witten and the bring back Dez side are on completely opposite spectrums of the Cowboys fan base there. And look, I get it. The Cowboys receiving depth chart, it's bad. It's bad, guys. Like, come on. Like, I know that Dez isn't going to come back, but I still think it was a mistake for cutting Dez in the first place. And a tight end, look, guys, this is the worst tight end depth chart in the entire NFL. The Cowboys were not prepared for Witten to leave, no matter what you guys say. Folks, today's show is brought to you by The Guild. Visit stayguild.com for 15% off your next stay. Kind of like a luxury Airbnb. Don't play the Airbnb roulette game anymore with the bad bed. Just go to stayguild.com and then use that promo code for 15% off your next stay. All right, next up, this one has kind of died down a little bit in terms of Cowboys fan base faction. It's the Rico hype machine, and some of these comments, I think we've all kind of settled down a little bit about Rico, at least from what I've seen in the comments section. Some of these comments are a little bit older, and they get out there. Now, yes, I agree. If he learns to block, he'll be a great tight end. Some of you guys do think he's the future. Some of you think he could be better than Gronk. Some of you think he'll get 80 catches. Some of them think he's already better than Gronk. Some think he's already a beast. And it's just kind of weird to me because I've never seen so much hype around a player who has never played in a regular season game and was a 6th-round pick. No, Rico is not as good as Jason Witten. Witten is arguably the best out in NFL history. Maybe not. Maybe he's at least top 3, though. So the hype train, I get it. The upside is still there. But you Rico Gathers truthers out there, I love you. Never change. But wow, some of you people are just a little overboard, I think. I think a little bit of overvaluing the players there. All right, number 6, the Hire Jimmy Johnson Brigade. Yes, I love this one. This guy, by the way, also threw out Marvin Lewis, which, no, terrible idea. And then every time we mention firing Jason Garrett or other Cowboys coaches or other coaches the Cowboys could consider, there's always at least one, it's always a different one too, who says bring back Jimmy Johnson, which, guys, this is just insane. He hasn't coached in this century. Why do you want to bring him back? It doesn't make sense to hire a 74-year-old coach who hasn't coached in over 18 years. I love what Jimmy Johnson did. It doesn't make any sense to bring him back, though. Next up, the Hire Romo Brigade, be it for the quarterback's coach or the OC or the head coach in and of itself. Romo's never been a coach in the NFL, and this next one, by the way, was my favorite. If you can't get Romo, just go hire Bill Belichick. Again, all these comments were presented unedited, so typos and all are indeed accurate. I just don't get it, guys. I love Tony Romo. I was a Romo apologist for years. I swear, once he left, Everyone loves Tony now. All of a sudden, now that he's gone, Romo is the guy for the Cowboys. And I agree, because I love Tony. He's my all-time favorite quarterback. Not the most talented, but just the one that I love the most. But he's never been a coach. Why should you hire Tony Romo as the next Cowboys head coach? And I'll let you guys go on your Romo or your Witten soapboxes or your Jimmy Johnson ones. If Garrett gets fired, let me know in the comment section who you guys want as the next head coach. One last Cowboy faction, and this one, I actually don't like you guys at all. You and I have issues here. This is the Cooper Rush or Mike White is better than Dak Prescott. And it just doesn't make sense. I know that there's some doubt about if Dak is a franchise quarterback, but come on, guys. This is Mike White and Cooper Rush. Like, Cooper Rush was an undrafted free agent. He's not going to be the next Tony Romo. Mike White has some upside, but Dak Prescott is the franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. At least as of right now. Maybe he's not the guy long term, but it's not going to be Rush or White. Dak is the guy the Cowboys are going to give the shot to. It's just stunning to me how quickly we've turned on Dak Prescott. We loved him in his first year, misses Tyron Smith, misses Zeke, has some bad games, and now all of a sudden we flipped on Dak Prescott. At least some of you guys have. I get that there's some room for improvement with Dak, but he's going to be a third-year quarterback. And among third-year quarterbacks, Dak has looked pretty damn good. So I do think Dak is going to be the franchise guy for the Cowboys. I get that there's some debate, but folks, it's Dak, a big space, and then everybody else among quarterbacks for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak is the guy at quarterback. They're not going to give Rush a chance. They're not going to give White a chance because they're just not as good as Prescott is. Now, maybe if there's an injury, we can have that discussion. But as of right now, Dak is the guy. All right, folks. So, again, get your comments in the comment section for our next mailbag. We love to do it. And then there's always some good questions as well. So keep those comments flowing. And, again, thank you all for watching. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for some more Cowboys coverage as well. And if you guys missed anything, don't worry. We'll play it again here in just a second.